Okay, so you just want to jam games in constructed and have me, coach you through games and teach you about like lines and things to focus on and mistakes you're making.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
you
cool.
Want to check my deck out first
Yeah,
before
sure.
I join in?
Yeah, sure. Just saying, because we can also do stuff like build your sealed for the league or whatever if you play sealed and stuff like that. It's
Actually,
all up to you.
That could work out maybe better.
It's all up to you.
My sealed deck.
Yeah, we can also do both. Like we can like review your sealed pool and then play constructed, for example.
Yeah,
it's all up to you. It's 1 hour of your choosing. Your rank is 5 years old, apparently. Yeah, I'll try to have it as little echoey as possible. I have like some issues with my microphone picking up stuff usually. It's an old problem that I didn't find a good fix to. All right, so let's take a look at the pool. What I usually do is just go over all the colors and look at the colors separately to see what color has like even enough to consider it. So I would say just slowly click through your sealed pool and then I'll give you some feedback. Fire is rarely playable in sealed actually, so we'll see. But your fire is actually not that bad because Pouncing Drake and Cannonbearer are two very powerful warp cards, especially in sealed. So that's something to keep in mind. And World Pyre Phoenix and Final Shot, so you have some really good fire for sealed, so that's something to keep in mind. That doesn't happen that often. Okay, let's look at time. Parma, teacher, some decent time. Like time is usually solid-ish, but not super insane, but solid. But yeah, time might not be good enough to play possibly. We'll have to see.
Alright.
Keep looking. Okay, Justice. Chancellor can be super powerful for sure. That can be quite the bomb. And yeah, otherwise, like, oh yeah, Flight Lieutenant also really good, but otherwise the Justice seems mediocre. Continue. Primal's not bad. Serpent Trainer, Skywalk Instructor, Lightning Strike, a couple of decent options. But not a lot of cards. Thunder Giant might be fairly good in sealed. In draft it's a lot worse because it costs 8 and it's like a 6/6. But in sealed I can see it being more powerful, but I'm not sure how good it is in sealed. But I can definitely see considering it in sealed much more than in draft.
Alright.
Because like the sealed format is pretty vanilla in this format, so like 2-cost 2/2s are very bad, the format is really slow, and every card that generates some value or is really impactful on its own is like premium in sealed, even if it's like expensive, because the games, in my experience, usually go pretty long anyway. So you just want to play enough early game to not lose, but as little as possible. Because they're all gonna be bad after a couple turns. Shadow is also like not that impressive, so let's see where the beef is in the multi-faction cards. Ooh, Accelerated Evolution is still super good in Limited, so that's definitely a card. Keep going. Combust is quite good, because you usually have some throwaway stuff, and having a clean answer to bombs is always good. Okay, that's kind of a tricky and interesting pool actually that we have here. Okay. Strangers are among the best vanilla 2-drops in sealed, I would guess, because they add stability to your deck, make sure you don't lose to random aggressive decks, while still adding a lot to your deck. Okay, so clean out the deck completely. If you want, like, maybe just copy the deck as you have it right now, so you have like a backup or whatever. Paste it somewhere.
Alright, then just empty it out.
Yeah, and then empty it. I think your fire might be good enough that you want to play it. Let's go to the fire. So the cards we would consider playing are like Blink Wolf, because it's a 2-drop that also is free later. Ruination Sledge, Sharpshooter, Rebel Sharpshooter. The 3-drop Rebel Sharpshooter. Exactly. Yep. That's it for now on that page. Rusty Granite Motive probably. The Cannon Bearer and the Pouncing Drake. Scale Channel Sorcerer might not even make it. But yeah, Cannon Bearer is really good. Anything with Warp is really good and limited, as long as the card is decent. Are you hearing me well? The Cannon Bearer needs to go into the deck, the 6-drop. Okay. And the Phoenix. Core Scavenger is pretty decent, it's not great, but solid, so we can consider that. Put both in, just to see at least where we want to go. Final Shot. Rockside and Bloodthirsty Brawler are 2 cards that we play if we play Primal, but we don't know that yet. Just put them. Oh no, don't put them in yet. Just unlock the fire again, so we can keep going through the other time next. Okay, so the time would allow us to splash, which is nice. Although the time doesn't have that much synergy. Like, Teacher is not that great in limited because you have to be super heavy time for it to be good, and past turn 2 it's not that great. It's like good but not that good. It's like not a reason to be time, for example. Show us the rest. We have like the 2 3-drops, they are pretty good, and the Sandler's Palmer is pretty good too. So those are like 3 cards. Secret Pages is decent, Curator is good, Gravetender is alright. Swarm is not very good anymore. Displacer is okay. Sentinel is okay, because at least it's fat. But we already have like the 7-drops if we play fire with the core scavengers and stuff, so not as appealing. Continue to the next page of time. Subterranean Sentry is a lot better, but yeah, all in all, time is not super impressive. I would assume we might end up Rakano, or maybe like Praxis Splash. I like Skycrack Splash Evolution maybe. We'll see. Now we go to Justice. Like, Justice has a bunch of good things. Like, Emerald Ring is pretty powerful in sealed, because it can really take over games. Put in the ring, the Chancellor. I don't even like Paladin a whole lot, but Chancellor is really good.
Should we add him?
Yeah. Add Chancellor. Maybe the Longsword even, because we have the Chancellor, we have the Sharpshooter, the Granite Motive. So they might be reasons enough to put it in, but not sure. Also, Chancellor plus Final Shot's really good. Cut the long... Oh no, keep the Longsword for now, but we might cut it.
Okay.
I think Rakano is probably the way to go. Baton, both batons. Although, maybe only one baton in sealed, because not sure how much you can kill. Then again, it probably still kills enough flyers that it might be good enough. Like, it's better in draft, where there's generally more small things, but the fact that it kills a lot of flyers might still be good enough to run them. Yeah, put both batons in, put the familiar in, put the calligraphers in, put the militant in, the cry, the malice, the mace, I mean. The mithril mace, the weapon. The 5-drop relic weapon.
The weapon.
Yep. I don't think we have enough endurance to run Treasurer, probably. So continue, put in the Lieutenant. Also we have 2 fixes, which is great, the 2 banners. Continue. We can consider splashing Roland's Choice, for example, if we would want to. We'll have to keep that in mind with the stranger.
Should we go for it?
Not yet. Just keep it in mind. Just like take mental note of it.
Alright.
Continue with Primal. Oh, and check if we have Recano strangers. Alright. So yeah, let's take a look at the primer cards again. But I think like the Justice is just really good with Lieutenant and Chancellor already. Like Chancellor plus Final Shot is a super strong late game. Primal basically has like Lightning Strike. Trumpeter is not even that great in sealed, I think. But okay. Continue. Then we have Crafty Yeti, which is okay. Serpent Trainer, Instructor, and the 2 Skycrack cards. Continue to the next page. And like Thunder Giant, basically. Yeah, I don't think we realistically will be Skycrack. We're most likely gonna be Recano. Let's check Shadow real quick again to see if there's anything that we really want. But I think it's probably gonna be Recano, possibly without a splash, because your Shadow also seemed pretty bad. Next page. Yeah, the extracts are nice, but they are not splashable. Go back. Sidearm is neat, but also not splashable. Spore Press is potentially splashable. Put the Spore Press in. With the fixing that we have, we might actually want that. Because we don't have that much removal for more problematic things. Same goes for the Combust. Continue. Yeah, add the Combust and the Roland's Choice. And then we'll start sorting out and cutting down. And check the strangers, of course. Because we have an Argenport stranger and maybe more. Yeah, and a Stone Scar stranger, perfect. So 2 fixers, that makes the splash a lot better. Next page. Last page, please. Alright. Okay, now just let's take a look at the deck. In like extended deck view. Just make it big. Okay. I think we want to cut... Oh no, the longsword is gone anyway. Oh no, it's not. Cut the longsword, I think. Add power. Just click the add power button and then we'll adjust. Okay, 19 might actually be fine in this deck, but I'm not sure. Because the thing is, you have a pretty high curve and you really want to hit your power drops. And you have a lot to do with your power. You have these 7 drops. And power, you have Final Shot as an 8 drop. You have Chancellor activation. The thing is, we might need to play the longsword if we want to play the familiar. We have 2 endurance units. Do we want that 2-3? Thing is, without the endurance, the guy is pretty bad. Cut down to 2 Shadow Sigils. Go back to the fire cards. Like basically just leave it filtered for fire, for like Rakano and Shadow. Because I want to double check what cards we might want to play. And Justice. Yep, exactly. Okay, so I don't think we want assembly line, just doesn't do enough. And we have enough 2-drops with the 2 strangers and the Blink Wolf, and if push comes to shove with the Chancellor, that we really don't want Pyre Adept. So next page. Recogulators, like how many oh, Reforge. I think we want Reforge. We have like 3 relic weapons. It's a bit niche, but I think it might be good enough. Because it's really strong when it has a target. Also, it actually also draws like the non-relic weapon, so it's actually really good in the deck. You can rebuy a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good and sealed, a lot better than Longsword. I might still want to try and cut the familiars if I can, because it's really not that great. We don't have a lot of spells for the scale channel sorcerer, so that doesn't really work. Keep sifting through cards. Groundwatch Paladin is like so even worse than Familiar. Familiar is probably good enough because it's an Aegis flyer and you have a few things to put on. Continue. Oh yeah, you also have Roland's favor to put on, make it a 4/4. Yeah, I think that's actually good. Like, I think now we have a deck. Look at the deck. 18 lands, 18 power. Deck looks really good. So just add a fire. Let's check the symbols. We're pretty even in Justice and Fire. We also have a Stranger of both. Yeah, and the influence is amazing. You have like 4 Shadow for 3 Shadow cards that are good at any point in the game, rather later than early. And like 10 Fire and 10 Justice sources. And a good curve. And pretty powerful late game. This is a really good sealed deck. You basically want to look for like high impact cards that can win the game on their own. Flyers like Valkyrie Militant, Familiar, even these small flyers matter, but like Pouncing Drake and Veldpire Phoenix alone are really, really strong cards, and Flight Lieutenant. And yeah, Emerald Ring, while often too slow in draft, is really powerful and sealed. And then you basically can almost freely splash the removal, and Final Shot is another removal that turns a unit into a monster. Like if you put that on your Silverwing Familiar, unless the opponent has a relic weapon to take it down, usually they are more likely losing than anything, because a 6/2 quick draw lifesteal Aegis flying gonna be fun for most people. So yeah, this deck looks really good.
Alright.
I think we should do a lot better with this. I mean, we can play it right now if you want. We can also play Constructed if you want. That's up to you. What would you prefer?
Let's try Constructed real quick.
Yeah, sure. Let's go to Constructed. Yeah, do you have any questions regarding like the sealed pool and why we built it the way we did?
I've only been in this for like a week or so right now.
In the game or?
Yeah, in the game, totally.
Ah, you just started. Have you played Magic or anything similar before?
Yeah, Magic and Hearthstone.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, if you have any questions regarding why we built the sealed the way we did.
Yeah, I just want to look at this Argenport mid-range deck I've been pretty much running exclusively.
Okay. So basically, I think in this style, like old school style of Argenport, I think Inquisitor's Blade is a massive trap. Card is very bad when you're behind. I would recommend cutting it in this build. I think it only makes sense in this like Aegis aggressive build that SPG has been running in the Invitational. The problem with this card is it costs 4, and when you're on defense, when you're behind, the card does nothing because it provides 1 health, and the extra stats and the flying are super irrelevant, so you have a dead card in your hand.
Yeah.
And
what would you recommend kind of switching out with it?
And I think you definitely want 4 Sabotage in this kind of deck, especially with Tavrod, because that makes it so you can stick your Tavrod. So I would cut the Inquisitor's Blades and just run 4 Impending Doom and no Trader. I think Trader is also a trap because it forces you to run Blade. I tested Trader and Blade for a while, and it just performs and feels a lot worse than just 4 Impending Doom. So many games, especially against time decks, just get won by an Impending Doom that they can't answer. And to get an Impending Doom out of your Trader, you need to have these bad blades in your deck and need to draw the blade as well, because otherwise every fatty they drop, not just Titan, stalls you. So
Alright.
that means for Sabotage, also you have not remotely enough power, you need 4 Favor.
Alright, what should I add to?
Varus Favor. Varus Favor. The spell that gets you a sigil. The 2-cost spell. Varus Favor. Shadow cost 2. This one, yeah, exactly. Go up to 4.
And then drop these 2.
Yeah, something like that. I also would cut Finest Hour. I'm not a big fan of Finest Hour in this approach, because you're not aggressive enough, so it's kind of situational. And cheap removal is gonna be a lot more efficient and helpful, especially when you're on defense. I think Finest Hour makes more sense when you're more aggressive, but not in this. And the deck has like so much good cheap removal. And now the big deal, the biggest deal actually, I think Slay is really bad in this deck. You want to run like Suffocates, Annihilates, and Vanquishes, because they are much more efficient.
Yeah.
And Slay is just like a very clunky card that is more like a necessary evil in control decks, because in control, if you draw a removal that doesn't answer what is in front of you, that might be the difference between winning and losing. In this deck, you just need to deal with mostly some big key units, which Annihilate and Vanquish do most of the time, and that as tempo efficient as possible to put the opponent behind. And Slay is very bad at that. And the deck already has a ton of cards that cost 3, but not that many cards that cost 1 or 2.
So should I drop all 4 Finest
Yeah,
Hours?
I would cut all 4 Slay and opt for a different removal suit. Cut 4 Slay. I think Suffocate is really good right now and very efficient. Can at least add like 2 Annihilate and 2 Vanquish. The thing with Suffocate is also it's really good against Teacher, which can be is a real pain for this deck, because only your Rip Knife even deals with it, and then if the opponent has removal for your Rip Knife, you're just getting teachered, and then your Tavrot is not doing a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
So to Vanquish. And you probably want at least a 3rd Rune Hammer, so your Tavrot hits enough and so on. And we can consider running some Vanquisher's Blade. Okay, so put 2 Blades in and 2 Vanquishes. 2 Vanquishes too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Suffocate, at least 3. Do you have Black Hole War Leader? Probably not, right?
Check.
just filter for justice and shadow at the bottom. Filter for justice and shadow.
Would you say for justice and
At the
shadow?
bottom, just yeah,
Oh,
this
gotcha.
and this, yeah, exactly. And now check the shadow 2 drops. Wrong direction.
Forward, sorry.
Nope, no war leader, but that's fine, like it's a legendary. I like it in Argent Port if you play enough removal, because it's a Minotaur for Tavrot, and the effect's also just really strong, and it's can snowball the game. But Rip Knife is also really good and more consistent, and you need Crown Watch because of like Hailstorm and stuff. Okay, so like make the deck wide view again, like extended deck view. So we'll clean it up. Okay, so we need to cut this down to size. Cut the slays. They're still in there. Get them out. Think. Let's see. We have how many targets for Tarbot? 4, 8, 10, 13, 16. Ideal. Cut the monument. Go to the standards. Add like tactics. 2 Crownwatch tactics. Like 1 or 2.
Would you say that? Sorry about that.
Crownwatch standard. The new transmute spell. It's like the monument, but it makes a +3/+3 spell that gives lifesteal. A lot better than the monument. Yep. Put 2 in of the Crownwatch variety. You need to add them to the deck. Unknown? Can you hear me well? Seems sometimes like you're not getting me as well. Do you hear me? Test, test, test. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I heard you again. I had to run to the door real quick.
Ah, okay. Because it
What
seems
was
like
that?
you're not hearing me. So, add 2 of the tactics to the deck of the standards, the Crownwatch standards. Yeah, 2 of these. There they are. The power, this one. Just add them to the deck. No. The card on the left, the Groundwatch standard. Add.
Which card is that? Groundwatch standard?
Yeah, it's on the screen. Just add it to the deck. Yeah, this
my
one.
bad.
I was like, where is he looking? And diplomatic seals. Like 3.
2 or 3.
3. And then we'll have to clean up the power base. Go back to the deck.
Alright.
Okay, so first of all, the point of the diplomatic seals is both to make your 3-drops more consistent, because you have like double cost 3-drops in both colors basically. And the other thing is that I realized when I talked with a friend is that the deck is not that good at playing turn 1 sabotage, and normally you want to go sabotage 2-drop, 3-drop. So if you can't play your sabotage in 1, you might have to like take off your curve, and Diplomatic Seal gives you virtually more shadow sources to do that without giving you less justice sources for your 3-drops. So what we want to do is cut 1 justice sigil. Let's see how many can we squeeze in. Another justice sigil.
Yeah, I just cut one.
Yeah, cut one more. And
Alright.
I think at this point we can also shave one Varus favor because they can be a bit clunky. But they are still necessary in some number against Aegis, basically. Like Icaria and that stuff. But we also have Valkyrie Enforcer to help there a bit. So that's a nice bonus. Okay, so let's see. Trying to think how good Vanquisher's Blade is gonna be, if it's worth running it. It's nice for like Tavrod hits, but I'm not sure, because we gotta clean up the deck somehow. How much power do we have? 27 plus 3, 30, that's what I wanted. Because like 29, like most people run 29, but I think 29 is just like unnecessary greedy, because every time you have Tavrod in hand and can't play it on turn 5, it's gonna be a lot worse, because every turn later you play it, the more likely it is that your opponent has an answer or that it's too slow and you might lose the game, even though you play a Tavrod. So Tavrod on curve on turn 5, preferably with a Sabotage before, is like the most scary thing the deck does, so you don't want to skimp on that. And the deck has ways to gain card advantage. You have Interrogator, you have Tavrod, you have Crest, you have potential Groundward Standards in Varus favors, so it's really not like you need to be greedy. And I agree that I think both merchants are too bad, or too bad of a fit to run in the deck, so I would not run merchant. Okay, so I think we have to cut the Vanquisher's Blades due to space concerns, and because they are a bit clunky actually. They're nice for Tavrod technically, but in the end the tempo and efficiency matters more than anything. And I think the last cut should be an Interrogator, because on curve the card's not great. So it's more of a like nice thing to draw later with Warcry on it, or hit with Tavrod. It makes Tavrod hits a bit weaker. But yeah, and I think you want the amount of removal that you have. So I would try it like that for now. Let's roll.
Alright. Try this one out.
Yep, let's go. Gotta keep an eye out on the like depleted powers if the two standards are not a bit much, but we'll see.
Okay.
Not sure how good this deck does at the moment actually, but we'll find out.
Give
Okay.
it a try.
Yep, let's roll. Would actually work pretty well again. It does a similar thing as TJP, but has different strengths. Yeah, that's a clear reader. How do you want to do it? Do you just tell me what you want to do and I'll explain you what you should do and why if you do something that I think is wrong?
I'd probably put a banner down first.
Yeah.
Just because I don't need a 1-drop.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they are out of your way, otherwise you might depend on your unit living. So yeah, just tell me what you want to do and not do it, and then we'll talk about whether or not that
And
makes
then
sense.
I'll probably go Vengeance to Rip
Yeah,
Knife.
that's the easy one. And we are probably facing Big Combre. Nope, let's see.
Maybe this Unseen Commando. Give him an extra one.
Yeah, I agree. Banner and Commando is best line here. It's not worth it to spend your entire turn trying to suffocate Alessi, especially because he might even have a finest hour and counter it.
Okay.
So just attack.
And then attack with him.
Yeah. And we have a nice turn next turn playing another 3 and then trying to suffocate the Alessi or whatever else he might play. For example, this Enforcer.
So suffocate the Enforcer and then maybe after the turn and play the other Commando.
I think we definitely play Commando here. The question is which unit we want to suffocate here. Suffocating the Enforcer gives us more pressure, but leaves a Lassie around, which can be a problem. But I think suffocating the Enforcer is a bit better here, just because it gives us more tempo and more pressure, because the opponent eats 5 here. And
Okay.
that, I think that's a bit more effective. Like, killing the Lassie here means he takes 3, and we don't even know how good his hand is at making this Lassie matter before the game is over. And Alessi is still gonna trade with a rib knife, so Alessi is only gonna stall the 2-3. Oh, not drawing too bad.
Another unseen commando, and then
Yeah, we don't need to
attack
commando
again.
pre-comb. Oh yeah, actually we do because of the rib knife. Yeah,
Stay away from him.
just play the commando. And
then attack with all 3 or just the 2 commandos?
no, with the big commando and the rib knife, not with the small commando.
Okay.
It's too early to attack with the small commando, I think, to push damage, because he might be forced to double block the 3-4 here.
Yeah.
The thing is, if he has Finest Hour here and you attack with everything, he Finest Hours, eats the 3-4 with a Lassie, and eats the 2-3 for free. We're gonna use the 2-3 later when we have a better spot to force damage. If he had no power open there, I might be more inclined to attack with everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
just go with everything.
Yep, A space, that face. Yeah, in case you're not aware, A is attack all, so you can just like A and space is using the button on the right.
Oh, okay.
That makes it a bit easier. You don't have to click every unit individually, you can just A.
And then Tavrod.
Yeah, easy Tavrod. He has used 2 enforcers. He might not even play Vanquish. His Alessi isn't big enough to...
You said it was A in space?
Space is using the button on the right, and A just marks everything as attack.
Okay.
And then space is just confirming the right button.
Got it.
See, he has the initiation, but it's not big enough to kill Tarvard unless he has another pump spell. Which means, good game, sir.
So, attack with both now.
Yeah, press A to see how it works. See? And then you can either click the button or press space. Perfect. That's great. Okay, opponent is super fucked. First we play the crest.
Go with an interrogator.
First we play the crest. See what information we get.
Keep that on top.
It honestly doesn't matter much, but yeah, you can keep it on top. Why not? That's decent. What do you want to do here? Why though?
Or should I Rune Hammer?
I think killing the Alessi is what you want to do, because then he has nothing and has very little options to do anything. And you still have the Runehammer equipped that kills the next thing he plays. And next turn you can play the Interrogator and the Bloodletter, or 2 Interrogators. But to be fair, playing the Interrogator there wouldn't have been much different. In that spot you're really far ahead. Playing the 10-4 here is another threat that he has to deal with and stuff.
Attack here, then
Yeah.
Bloodletter on him.
Attack first and see what happens. Hopefully no Finest Hour. Nope. All good.
Alright. And then Bloodletter on him.
No, I think it's better to play both units to get more on the board.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he doesn't have a sweeper, so the more behind he is on board, the harder it is for him to recover. And then you can Bloodletter next turn on the other interrogator. And then, like, how is he gonna beat that? Can't. Crest.
Alright.
Crest
Who do you
first.
think I should put this Bloodletter on?
Crest first. Look for information. Yeah, we don't need that.
Bottom.
Yep. We don't need that. And then Bloodletter the other interrogator to keep drawing cards.
On this other one right here?
Yep, exactly. And then attack with everything. Because here you can easily attack with everything because he cannot afford to block that really well. Like, I mean, if he does what he just did, that means he takes extra damage and it's like so behind. Basically the way you attacked here denies him the double block on the 10-4. If you attack just with the two interrogators, he might trade with the 10-4 and then try to like get out from under the situation. The way you attacked, he has to jump block and eat the 2-3, otherwise he dies. That's why it's important to attack with the 2-3 there. Yeah, just sabotage.
Sabotage first.
Yep. Yes. So he probably has a power. Yeah, we keep that on top. Yeah, keep on top.
Think you keep him?
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna shut down the Alessi.
Attack with both?
No. Only with the... No.
Oh, okay.
I think actually you only want to attack with the 10-4 here, because that still eats 2 units, and the drawing 2 cards with the interrogator is just gonna win. Otherwise he might double block the 7-6 and jump the 10-4, and then have a chance to get back into the game. More likely. Yeah. So I think this is better. And this way he's gonna trade like this. And then we get the extra card. Ta-da!
Attack first.
It's close. You can. There's an argument for attacking here, but I mean, we know the card in his hand is a unit or a power, most likely. Like we. This is actually tricky because attacking means we trade, not attacking means we get another free card, and he has a hard time getting back from under this. I think you probably just want to play both units, silence the enforcer, and pass. Because I don't think there's anything that realistically punishes us for not attacking. Especially because not attacking means we get another card. Don't need to play the card. Just pass.
Hold that to make it look like I got something.
Yeah, it's trivial, but pass. And we also have enough health that the like damage we take is like trivial. And like the best thing that he can have there basically is like go ready power, Sword of Unity, but even that you have ample ways to deal with.
Alright, thank you.
And yeah, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask. I didn't explain something enough why we do what we do. Feel free to ask and I'll try to explain more.
Yeah, I think I got where you were going with it. How much time we got?
We got like a bit more than 15 minutes.
Alright. go with another one?
Yeah, sure. Like the important thing basically in a situation like this where you're ahead is you want to make sure that you stay ahead and minimize the chance of your opponent to catch back up. And that's
Yeah.
why I think you want to not give him your interrogator, because that means you draw 2 cards each turn versus his 1.
So should I?
And that constantly pulls you more ahead. While trading is kind of like stopping that. It's like a 2 for 1 time, but that's it. And then he might be able to like outdraw you. Yeah, we redraw this.
Yep.
First of all, I think keeping 2 power hands, especially on the play, is very bad with this deck. You basically want to redraw almost any 2 power hand.
And then play the depleted.
Yeah. So basically you want to redraw every 2 power hand on the play, except maybe super low curve hands that have like Crest plus a Justice Source and like a good 2-drop.
So I can have a 3-drop.
Yeah, in this situation, clearly the banner. And usually only on the draw. Like you can keep really good hands with 2 power and a 2-drop and a Crest on the draw, or like 2 power plus favor. Keep in mind when I say 2 power hands, I mean like actual 2 power. Favor counts as a power in that case.
Yeah. So now one of these enforcers and just take away that Aegis.
Exactly. If you haven't noticed already, we are up against a Feln Berserk. That's the only deck that plays that.
Take away that shield.
Yep. It's very important with this deck to have like 3 or more power in the opening hand. Like basically most 4 power opening hands are better than any 2 power opening hand, especially on the play. Like keeping 2 power hands on the play most of the time means you get stuck on 2 or 3 power and lose the game.
Yeah.
This deck heavily depends on hitting 3 or 4 power. If you don't get there, you're not gonna get anywhere. Yeah, play the Crest.
Maybe bottom that.
Yeah, we have more than enough power. Yeah, just shut down that bird and pass. Another thing to keep in mind with Scout is, if you have 4 power and you don't have a Tavrod in hand, you can act.
Don't block this one, right?
I think you actually want to trade, because every damage you take against that deck puts you closer into Haunting Scream, Berserk, Rapid Shot range. And you don't have a removal for this. Yeah, I think you should block, because the plan is to hopefully go Impending Doom, Bloodletter, if that works. Or just trade with Rindra, we'll see about that.
So,
yeah,
Impending Doom.
I think so, yeah. That's one of the fewer decks where Annihilate is quite awkward. Annihilate's not very great against that deck.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made to run 3 Vanquish in that deck. I honestly think you can't really block here, because he seems to not have a removal for Doom. And if he doesn't have a removal, the chance is pretty good that he has one of his tricks. He even has 5 power, so he has Cable Tactic and Rapid Shot, so if you block here, you're most likely just gonna lose your unit, take some damage, and he gains a lot of health. So you have to eat it. At least our Annihilate has something to do now. This is getting interesting. Play the Seed.
And then, should I try to get this Bloodletter on him just to get the life back? And then throw an Arc without one, even though I lose the card draw?
This is a pretty tricky moment where we have to be careful what we do and how. I think what you want to do here probably actually is play the interrogator and pass. Yeah, I think you want to play the interrogator and just pass.
Okay.
The other option, I think, would have been Bloodletter the Impending Doom and pass with Annihilate open. Okay.
Annihilate this guy.
No. That's not how that works. That's our insurance. What you want to do here is Impending Doom in front of the 3-1. And Interrogator in front of the 2-1.
Interrogator this Yeti, or?
Yep, in front of the Yeti. Because we gotta somehow stabilize this, and if we trade our stuff, we're not gonna get anywhere. Now you click OK and wait. Just wait. Because you both have priority at the same time in this game, and he is the one that has to do something.
Okay.
And what he does here is fine. Press continue.
Okay.
Continue, quick. And then, no! Now you're dead. You should have pressed continue on the spell and then play tactic on your doom.
That's what, okay.
The thing is, you have to play the waiting game there. And you have to not waste your turn clock. Like, as soon as he plays that trick, you just say okay and wait what he does. If he doesn't do anything anymore, you play your tactic.
Yeah, okay.
Because the thing is, he is in the position to do something. You are not taking lethal, and he is losing 2 units without doing anything. So you set him up in a situation where he has to use a trick, and then you counter with your trick. Yeah, redraw 2 power. And then we would have gone to 8. Next turn we Bloodletter, go to 16. And actually have a 4-3 to trade with his 3-2. And yeah, here we want to play 1 standard. And the other one we want to try and slow roll. Yeah, seal for shadow. Because we're probably gonna Bloodletter turn 3, so we don't need double justice. And we have double justice if we need it, at least the slow way. So yeah. Crown watch. And yeah, we had a reasonable shot at stabilizing there, depending on what the rest of his hand is.
Let's throw the Bloodletter on him.
Yeah. Doesn't matter whether you play shadow or justice here. Yep. Attack. There's one mistake that we might have made last game. Maybe we have to block the 3-2 Aegis. Go. So you have an Annihilate target next turn, because the way we block, we don't have an Annihilate target.
Yeah,
making the Annihilate kind of bad. It's a bit, and although that also means we lose our attack.
Should we try to Runehammer
Attack
face
first,
here?
attack first, and then worry about the rest.
Okay.
Play the Shadow, and play Shadow Sigil. And the question is now, I think we wanna Enforcer here, because even if he has Titan, we have the tactic. And I think that just applies so much pressure. Attack.
Alright, attack first.
Yeah, and then just play the 2/2 drops. And the 5th power. Okay, I guess now we're playing 2-drop and 3-drop. Yep, definitely. Crown Watch and the 3-2. Problem is bow straight with Titan, unfortunately. Let's see what he has. Hailstorm. Okay. Tuck.
Alright, attack first.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think now we play Runehammer here. And hit him, because he's gonna go pretty low. And if he plays an Annihilate target, he just dies. And it's also better if he has another Hailstorm. Attack with the weapon first. No. I said attack with the weapon first.
Oh, sorry.
To see if he has like a pause and stuff.
So should I just go for the trader?
I think... rough. Yeah, I guess you have to go for it now, but that's why you want to attack with the weapon first to see if he has a stop.
Yeah.
Now we just have to hope he doesn't have the third equivocate, which he shouldn't, but you never know. Alright, you got him. Gotta sequence the stuff in the right order to get the most out of it. Because the weapon is a great way here without risk to see if he has anything, and if he has nothing, he's dead.
Yeah. So the game pauses no matter what for them, so you can kind of tell if they got the cards, right?
Yeah, it pauses if they have something they can play. They have a playable card.
Yeah.
Let's roll. Got time for like 1 or 2 more. Probably 1 more and then like some closing questions. And a quick side note on the sealed. With the sealed you basically just wanna try and survive and trade as profitably as possible, like play for value. Nice, Rabbit.
So would this count with having a Vera's or?
Yeah, Varus Favor is a power. You can keep this hand. It's a pretty good 3 power hand. A bit unfortunate since you can't Bloodletter on 3, most likely, unless you top deck. But even if not, you at least have the favor to kill small units that might stall the Paladin. Like a baby Icaria, for example. There's still a bunch of good Varus Favor targets in the format. Temple Scribes, Trailmakers, Initiates, Baby Icarias, Aegis, Face Aegis. Attack.
Just play a second one here,
No. I think you need to Varus Favor here.
or? Okay.
Because you need to get your 3rd power for your Enforcer or your Bloodletter, and to get to your Impending Doom. Like if you draw a ready power next turn, you just slam Impending Doom most likely. That's like the downside of Varus Favor. Like Varus Favor is like was worse in that spot than power, but it can also be like the most brutal 2-for-1, and the deck has some issues with Aegis otherwise. Of course, now he has the Varus Favor target.
Yeah.
So lucky. Anyway, you just attack. If he trades, that's fine. Yeah, it's actually not a bad trade for you, because his card is not free. So if he trades, that's not bad for us. Especially because we already got 2 Warcries and 2 damage out of it.
Throw this Impending Doom.
Given that our hand doesn't have any removal, I think you want to play Impending Doom here. If we had more removal with this hand, we could Enforcer silence the Icaria to deny it to him. Maybe he is light on power and stuff and has no better thing to do. But I think we need Impending Doom to deal with a melee, for example. Our hand is very soft to a melee right now. So I think Impending Doom is the play. Also, Impending Doom puts him under a lot of pressure, so if his only play next turn is Ultimate Icaria, he takes a lot of damage, and if he kills Impending Doom with Vanquish, he can't use his Icaria. And he doesn't want to trade the Icaria with our Paladin before he activated her ultimate. So he's kind of like in a pickle here. Either he takes another 2 damage from the Crown Watch for free to get the value from his Icaria and kill the Doom, or activate Icaria, take a lot of damage from Doom to be able to trade and use the ultimate. And he either doesn't have the Vanquish or goes for the non-Vanquish line. And here we...
Do
it's
I
actually
have to
interesting
put
whether or
on
not we want to
attack?
attack here. Hmm. This is interesting, because they might have harsh roll. Yeah, I think attack with bows is fine, because you just drop the 2/2 drops with Aegis, so even if he has harsh roll, he's in a rough spot.
Okay.
Yeah, just attack with bows.
Attack with just him or
No, just
no
bows.
attack?
With bows.
Okay.
Because I mean, we all still get the Warcry off.
Yeah.
It's a close call though, like, I can see arguments they're not attacking with the Crown Watch, just attacking with the Doom. But if he doesn't have harsh roll, we basically give up 2 damage, because then he just does it next turn, and we have
Yeah.
another Crown Watch anyway. Oh, sweet. Somebody is screwed. Okay, so... yeah. Easy game, easy life. I think what you want to do here is just slam the blood ladder on the smaller
Yeah.
paladin.
Just to make them all kind of bigger.
Yeah.
And the big blood letter on him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the one that denies him the double block trade.
And then attack with all.
Yeah, I think you want to attack with everything here.
Yeah.
That means you can double block to trade, but it also means he goes to 4, and you can kill the baby Icaria before she becomes 5/4 to trade with Doom.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, if he double blocks here, you kill the Icaria, not the 2/4.
Yeah, okay.
Because if he plays a Justice next turn, she becomes 5/4, hits you for 5, and then trades with your Doom, potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have the Enforcer against that, but we don't need to use that if we don't have to. The good thing is, like most fatties that he plays here, you can just slam Bloodletter on Doom.
So suffocate this one?
That doesn't work. But you can suffocate the small one and silence the big one, and then you win.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was thinking it was the single faction one.
No.
Suffocate the small one and
Yep.
Valkyrie Enforcer
Exactly.
on that one.
Yep, and then you just attack with Impending Doom and he's dead.
Yep.
Got him! Yeah, you can mess around with the removal suit a bit. Keep that in mind, like, the... like Annihilate versus Vanquish versus Suffocate kind of thing. Mess around with that mix. And yeah, try avoiding Slay. And like, Finest Hour is decent, but not that great. I think like between Finest Hour and Sabotage, that's like a bit much. But that's also something that you can try if you want. Like, I don't know, you could do weird stuff like run a bunch of Finest Hours and Vanquishes, for example, and stuff like that. But Suffocate generates a lot of tempo and deals with some utility units like Auralian Merchant, which ramps them, Teacher when you have a slow start, Initiate of Descents, Bullet Shaper, Baby Icaria, all these units that you won't get with Finest Hour because they don't get in combat. Yeah, Agnarak, we did. His Discord somehow just used another audio output than the rest of his PC, so he just didn't hear me because his Discord had the wrong audio source, the same way as my Discord had the wrong input source when we tried. So yeah, Discord just has some weird presets sometimes.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, these units you will never get them with Finest Hour. and killing them with Annihilate is really bad because they cost 1 and 2 mostly. And some of them you can't even annihilate, like you can't annihilate a Bullet Shaper, for example. And even the control decks have merchants, usually, so unless they have Yennev Merchant, Suffocate even does something against control, and against control like Icaria Black, they sometimes have Maiden, so it also kills Maiden. So Suffocate does a lot of things these days, and there's very few 3-drops that it doesn't kill. Enforcer, Commando, also Pacifier, that's a very big deal, like Horror Pacifier is something you need to be dealing with, and having 3 Suffocate and 4 Silence is a good way to get rid of it, for example.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I can also see trying something like even going a bit more aggressive and going like 4 Suffocate, 3 Vanquish, and don't run any Annihilate or something. Just kill the small and the big guys and get there that way, for example. Can mess around with that a bit.
Yeah,
basically.
I got you.
And yeah, do you have any questions before we wrap it up?
Just generally, I guess, another good deck to kind of move forward from now that I got this one built when I start accumulating my shards or whatever.
Like what are you looking for? What type of deck?
I mean, normally I play range, stuff like that. Normally
What?
not control. The games sometimes just take too long for me. So
Okay.
aggro or mid-range.
I mean, there's not much good in terms of aggro. Like Skycrack is the best aggro deck, but is pretty bad against any time deck that isn't Praxis Tokens. Praxis Tokens is like slightly favorable probably, usually, or even a bit more, but every other time deck is like pretty unfavorable, which is a big problem. It's really good against control though, and fairly good against, and pretty good against most Justice mid-range decks.
Okay.
So that's a bit iffy. And in terms of mid-range, there's a lot of stuff like another good or technically similar deck to this, which is possibly better than this, very likely is the TJP mid-range that I played. It's also basically like this kind of proactive, justice-based mid-range, which has a similar game plan to this, but I think it's probably better. And it's pretty cheap, like it needs 4 legendaries because the pacifiers are from the adventure, so you only need Forkathon, the rest is rares and cheaper. So you can look into that.
Yeah, that was a list. I was checking your list out on that one.
That's a really good deck. Like I'm currently like 42-18 or something with it. Like I have an insane win rate over 60 games.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for supporting the stream. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you just have like random questions with your progress since you're just new in the game, feel free to just ask during the stream or whatever. That's what the stream is there for.
Yeah, thank you very much, my man.
And I hope this gave you some insight and helped you a bit.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
And yeah, try to like remember the things that we talked about during the games and focus on the things like staying ahead when you're ahead and play tempo efficient. Try to think what the next couple next 1 or 2 turns gonna be like, what you wanna, so you can optimize your power usage. And for example, stuff like the situation we had with the Enforcer, if that's your only answer, you might be a bit more careful what you use it on, because your opponent might have one or the other card that you cannot beat if you don't have an answer, like the Amelie, for example. So it's important to hold back the Enforcer for that and stuff like that. Just plan ahead a bit and keep in mind what your opponent can do and what your opponent can do to beat you in the situation you're in, and try to plan for that.
All right, yeah, I think I feel where you go.
Okay.
I think I just see a little too much blood when I'm going and try to go for the win right away. Gotta hold it back.
Yeah, I mean, aggression is good, but still keep in mind what your opponent can do as well.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, man. Well, thank you very, very much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're on the stream. Bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great one.
All right, guys.